Hi, everyone. Marcel with Anvil Wealth. I'm here with my team member, Nycole Freer. She's a certified financial planner. Hi, Nycole. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Good. Nycole and I work closely. We have a shared client, a pretty big client, and but we have other clients that we want to work with, and we have services that where each of us can help independently or together with clients. So I wanted to ask Nycole and have her share with everyone kind of what she does, so you guys know. And you're like, well, can I use Nycole? I don't know who she is. Well, this is Nycole here, and she's going to tell us. She's a certified financial planner, so she can help you with anything from money, investments, retirement, insurance, taxes, all that fun stuff. Anyway, she's an expert, and she's been wonderful for us and for the client. And so, Nycole, tell us a little bit about what is a certified financial planner?
So a certified financial planner is someone who is a professional in the finance industry. So think of your attorney that passed the bar, or your accountant that took their CPA exam. Although those people have a lot more schooling probably than I did, I still took a test in order to prove my competency in the finance industry and be able to help people with their finances with a holistic view. So that starts from budgeting all the way up to their estate planning, making sure they're investing enough for retirement, or maybe they just want to make work optional. So some of these are some ideas that we discuss when I take on a client. So a CFP is a certified financial planner.
Okay. So like initially, like someone that's never used one, I mean, I'm familiar with it. I don't have one personally, but I'm probably going to be getting one soon, which would likely be you, of course. But mainly if someone's kind of getting started out, they may not want the entire holistic package, but at least maybe they just want to start with maybe what are their 401k or their assets or their savings, and kind of start with, let's invest some money. Let's make some money on some good investments, manage the risk. With it, like, is that kind of the starting point? And then they start growing into, hey, what about my tax side? What about my estate planning? You know, kind of as they get more comfortable, they start go, wait, Nycole knows a lot of things, right?
Yeah. So really with my clients, if they don't want to spend to do a full financial planning package, then yes, they can start with just the investment side. And I can look at their 401k and say, hey, you know, let's get out of this generic 2055 retirement. Here's what I think that you should be in. Let's not have someone else manage your money for you. Like, let's be intentional with what we're picking.
Good.
So yeah, we could start there. And then also just saying, hey, let's start with, if they have really nothing, like let's start with $50 a month to just get it invested. Let's just start building that muscle. And to be honest, I really do like to look at everything that they have, because most likely, like even if they're young, they most likely have already filed a tax return. And I could look through it and say, hey, because sometimes they don't even realize, like, hey, you can invest in an HSA, and they have no idea what an HSA is. So that's like opportunity for me to talk with them, and just being able to look at their tax return. It would show me how much money that they're making. And maybe a Roth, for example, might be better for them because they're in a low tax bracket now. So I do like to look at everything, and then it really allows me to say, okay, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. Like even disability insurance, for example, like it's really important, and most people don't even know that they need it. So even if you're young, like if you were to become disabled, do you really want to be living off the government's disability?
Yeah, really.
Really, you would like to have your own disability policy, and God forbid something were to happen to you, it could pay you all the way till you're 65. So, you know, these are just things to start thinking about, even if you are young. And this is like where we start. So being able to talk to a professional who knows all different areas of finance really allows us to touch on these different topics. And maybe they don't need life insurance, even though some people might force it on them. They're not making a ton of money, but the only reason why you would need life insurance is because someone depends on your income. So if anyone young is listening to this and some insurance guys or female is trying to push insurance down on them.
Right.
You don't necessarily need it. And sometimes even the returns that you get in those insurance products aren't as good because they're expensive because you're paying for insurance. So.
Right. So I have a question here for a lot of people. They might have some investments. Let's just say they're with Fidelity or I don't know what's a Prudential, any of the big ones, Schwab, and they're like, well, I invest, and they take a little what is it, like a maintenance fee or I don't know if it's a commission,
like
whatever,
an expense.
An expense, yeah. And so they're paying whatever percent, a small percentage, and they have their dedicated person, their sales. I guess it's a sales rep, and it's an investment advisor and stuff. How are you different than an investment advisor? What's the difference? He gets paid, you get paid. He's the same as you. Why are you different?
So when I used to work at JP Morgan, we weren't actually allowed to give any tax advice or estate planning advice. So when you work with these larger companies, they're really kind of don't want to touch into that because it could be considered, they could give the wrong advice. So they'll always say, reach out to your tax advisor.
Got it.
And so they always put it on them. Whereas with me, I mean, I am, I take on that risk and just so I can give good advice. So by working with me, you're actually working with a professional who's able to talk about those different things versus someone to just say, hey, we should put you in this or that. And then also, I actually don't take any commissions at all. So when I sell something, it's not because I'm going to get a kickback from the company and this company gives me more than this other company. I'm flat rate fee only. So when I do give investment advice, it's because I truly believe it, not because I'm going to be getting a kickback. So, people go ahead.
The investment advisors, like the ones that just work for these big companies and stuff, the big word is the F word, fiduciary. I know you're a fiduciary. I question, are they fiduciaries or are they merely licensed to sell securities?
Technically, everyone in this industry should be a fiduciary. Fiduciary just means putting yourself ahead of the client and doing what's right for that person. And I mean, you can get in really big trouble if you aren't really doing that, but that's kind of where that conflict of interest lies. Like if you are getting commission, let's say 6% on one product versus 3% on another product, and they're exactly the same, you most likely will go with the one that's going to pay you a 6% payout.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I would like to say most people in the industry are good people and they are working for the best interest for their clients. However, with the certified financial planner designation, like we sign an oath that we are fiduciaries. Right.
So it is a higher level of trust.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of why I brought up fiduciary, because I knew what that was. And that's why I think we got put together in the beginning, because, there's plenty of people that just sell investments, but it's a matter of putting you in the right investment. So
exactly. Yeah.
And then are there any other thoughts you have or anything else that you would share to someone that in the audience that might see this and they're like, wow, Marcel's got Anvil Wealth and Nycole, she's got Eden Financial, and they're all helping people. Is there any other things that you think you can help that we haven't covered today that you could share with us?
Yeah, so I also have the designation behavioral financial advisor. So when my clients come on, I give them some quizzes. I want to see how likely they are to become a millionaire. And it's based upon the Millionaire Next Door book. And so it can give you tips and tricks on how to become a millionaire. When I took the quiz, for example, I'm more likely to spend money very fast, quick decision making, but sometimes that could be not such a good thing. So one of the tips are wait 24 hours before making a large purchase. And, that can help you become a millionaire faster, obviously, because you're not spending as much money. So I do use some of these quizzes for me to understand what's going on in the brain of the person that I'm working with.
Okay.
And another really cool quiz that's on there is a quiz on what we're telling ourselves about money. So just, like everything that we do is all based upon habits and what we're telling ourselves. So if we're telling ourselves the wrong thing about money, we need to reframe our mind. So that's why I really like some of these quizzes. So the behavioral side of finance is kind of actually been a big topic recently in the industry. So happy to have that designation and help people behaviorally with their money.
Where did you get those exams? Did you make them? Do they provide them from a certain institute, or where do they come from?
Yeah, so they're from an institute called Data Points. And so it's based upon all the behavior stuff, all the behavioral side of finance, with scientific evidence to like back it up.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, this is super awesome. And hopefully people can see like what's out there and some amazing services that you provide that can help them. And I hope a lot of my viewers will reach out to you and see if you can help them.
Yeah, thank you. How about you tell me a little bit about what you offer and how that could complement someone like me and my services?
Well, it's kind of funny. Anvil Wealth, I think I told you this story, but I'll share with the viewers, is that I started it because a couple of people had some financial situations that I thought were just unconscionable. I have a friend who's about my age. I'm 55. He's right around my age. So, retirement's about 7 years out if you're 62. And he had mentioned he doesn't check his credit because he had missed some payments on a credit card. And I'm thinking that's the exact opposite thing you should do. Like, I get it. You ran into some problems financially. You missed a few payments. You should be checking your credit weekly or daily now, trying to find ways to correct it and to build it back up. Because without the credit, you can't get anything. You're never going to get an asset. So until you build that, you're just, for lack of a better term, you're dead in the water. You're just stuck the rest of your life. And at 55, you still have a chance to pull yourself out of it. So that's kind of what started. And I wanted to teach people, because a lot of times they just don't realize, check your credit, look at your car insurance, find budgeting, some basic stuff. And so that's where it started. So I want to help you. I kind of wanted to educate people. And the other thing is I have real estate background. I'm licensed in California and Tennessee in real estate, but I'm not a realtor. So what I do is I'm a businessman with a real estate license. And so I like to find businesses, investment properties, single family homes, multifamily properties, and either buy them or help a customer that's looking into it evaluate if it's a good investment, if the return is good. Now, some people have money and they know how to do all this. They want to do it on their own. Good for them. Other people are too busy. You got family. You got like say you're a doctor, you're working 80 hours a week. Last thing you have time to do is go home and evaluate a multifamily property for sale in Tennessee, So that's where I come in. I do that work for you. I love doing it, and I love to see my clients succeed. I want them to make money, as I know you do too. You take pride in that and enjoy their success. So asset valuation, I do businesses. I've run storage facilities. I've run restaurants, nail salons. I've done evaluations, almost any kind of business. And I've done commercial buildings. I've done single family homes. I've done multifamily properties. And the clients are always happy. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't mean I'm going to tell you to buy that property, because if it's bad, I'm going to tell you not to buy the property. And that is about the most valuable thing I can offer, is when I'm able to protect you from getting emotional and buying something because you think it's a good investment. And then you realize it's not. And I'm smart enough to find the numbers and show you and go, look, hey, Bill, you're going to lose about $1 million if you buy this $5 million property because it's only worth $4 million. That's the most valuable thing I can provide. And especially now living in the South, I have access to a lot of contacts in this area, which obviously in 2023 and 24 now, the South is booming for business and real estate. It's huge out here because the cost to get in is cheaper and there's a lot more opportunities. So.
Yeah, that is awesome. I love that. Yeah. How about, if I were to come in and work with you and, I have $25,000 to invest, maybe something in the South, like, would we pool our money together, or would this be something I would just be doing on my own?
Well, it's funny you say that because we hadn't done that yet, but I've had multiple people reach out to me in recent months, in the last 3 months, with that type of thing where they don't have $500,000 or $1 million in cash to dump into a property, but they want to own like a syndicate where they own a portion of whatever the business is. It could be a storage facility or multifamily. So those type of things, I don't have it established right now, but I'm certain we're going to go that way because the demand is high and there's a lot of people that want to get in the action, especially in the area we're at. We're in northern Alabama, but we're really close to Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, Mississippi. Everything's relatively close to where I'm at. It's within a couple-hour drive. So
that's awesome. Well, that's very exciting for people that maybe don't have that full amount of money to get started.
Yeah.
I love that.
Now I have 3 little they're like financial, I call them financial wellness tests or financial literacy tests. Now they're not so behavioral as yours. Yours are actually analyzing the behavior. Mine are just to see what you know, what you don't know, so that after you take the test, you go, wait a minute, I don't know a lot of this stuff. And it's stuff that you never got taught in high school, never got taught in college, never got taught by our parents, mainly because they didn't know. But so those are on my website, marceldoumerc.com, and they're free. And you can go on. They're 10 questions, but that'll give you a little bit of insight. And it's like, if you don't do so good on that, don't be mad. Say, wow, I do need Marcel and Nycole.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I also actually have a quiz on my website, edenfinancial.co, and it's about the behavioral side of finance and like what your spending habits are, what your wealth potential is like. So if anyone wants to take that.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So what inspired you to create Anvil Wealth?
That initial story about the guy with the credit and not paying the credit card was kind of what started it. And then I read a lot. I love reading. I love learning about finance and what to do right, what to do wrong. And some of the little things that have kind of added up one by one, like one of the things I heard, you know who Susie Orman is, the financial guru?
I do.
So the other day, maybe it was a month or two ago, she said 95% of the population is financially illiterate. And I thought about that and I said, nope, she is wrong. It's 96%. And the reason I say that is because it's probably 95. I don't know the real number. But the reason I say that is because I agree with her. And you want to help people because we all were financially illiterate at some point and we learned it. Yeah. I'm 55. I see the young people now, and I'm working with some young college athletes there in California. And I'm trying to help them because they're Gen Z. And I love the Gen Z. They want to work hard. They want to get to a higher place quicker. And I say, I'm 55 and I'm independent. Me and my wife are financially independent now. But I don't want them to have to wait to get to 55 to do that. Why can't they start now? And at 32, they're basically financially independent, right?
Yeah.
Like that to me, that would be the gift that I could bring them. If I could share that and give them that knowledge and let them take a couple chances and buy some real estate or a business and get there at 32, 35, 38 years old, that would make me happy. And so that's really the inspiration. The 2 words that I heard the other day was a passion project. And you could probably tell just by the way I talk about it, I am passionate about because that's how I feel. I don't make it up for the cameras. I don't even do well on camera, but it's one of those things I feel passionate. If I can help some people get ahead like that, that's really what fulfills me.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I'm like the same as you. And it's funny, I used to watch Susie Orman when I was about 16 on Oprah.
Yeah?
After I get off from school, I'd watch her. I read Young, Broken, Fabulous. And, you know, I was also illiterate and I wanted to not be illiterate. So I feel like that's kind of another reason why I went down this path is because, you know, my grandma's like, hey, if you save money by the time that you're 16, I'll match it so you can like get a car. Well, I spent all my money. I had no idea how to save or budget. And I really just feel like those things stem from, you know, whatever we're not good at and we want to be great at is usually like the profession that we get into.
Exactly.
So I totally feel that. And that's awesome. Like, I even wish I would have bought like, even in a condo or something, in college and like
Mhm.
rented it out to roommates,
Right.
like how much further along I would have been. So if I could have went back, but too bad
Well,
I didn't know you back then.
it's so funny you said that, because I did not prompt you to say that, just so our viewers know. But there is a program through the FHA that I have personally used with my wife and her kids, my stepdaughter and stepson, and it is an amazing program. Especially, it's basically designed for when you go to college, and a lot of people go to college. Their parents pay their rent for them. So kid goes to school 4 or 5 years, maybe goes to graduate school 6, 7 years, and the parents are paying rent for all that time. They have this low down payment loan through the FHA. It's 3.5% down. And you have to be on title and on the loan, the kid and the parents. And you can get in. And what happens is exactly what you just said. You get a 3-bedroom, the kid lives there and has 2 roommates that helps pay the mortgage. And then after the 4, 6, 7 years, the parents and the kid, they still own that property. It's an asset. And by this point, it's probably almost half paid off, and it's appreciated because the market's gone up. And you had to pay that rent anyway, so it's basically a free asset. So it's funny you say that, but that's one of the things that I do recommend with a lot of people with low down payments and good credit. It's a great program. My wife and I did it in Tennessee, and with her, I say our kids. It's my stepkids, but I consider them my kids. And it was life-changing for us. And I remember the day we bought the second house. It was about 7 months after the first house, and this was in 2018 and 2019. And I told my wife, we put every bit of cash we had into that second house on down payment. We had no more cash between the two of us, other than our retirement. And we were literally just that month to month, because we took the chance. And I told her, and I never forget, I said this the other night, I said, this moment is life-changing for us, because these 2 houses will secure our financial independence. And sure enough, COVID hit. Those values of those homes almost doubled. And it really did change our life. I mean, I'm not lying. If I showed you the numbers, you go, that is life-changing. And I knew the day we bought it, I told her. And but it's so amazing you brought that up, because I didn't prompt you to say that. You did, and that's one of the biggest things that I've done and that I would share for others, because it's an amazing program,
Yeah, that's so cool. So I'm so happy with all the things that you're doing. And I guess just one other question would be, what differentiates you from other financial coaches out there?
Well, on my end, I would say this. There are a lot of financial coaches, and probably almost all of them are really good. What I can tell you is I work hard and I care. Those are 2 things you cannot take away from me. My reputation is intact. I've never done anything to mess anyone over. In fact, whenever there was doubt, I just paid them and said, hey, let's not even argue. I'm not even going to deal with it, because this is the way. And those people couldn't believe it, because they knew I was being honest. But I will always work my hardest, and I care. And those are 2 things I can guarantee. And I don't know if everyone else can guarantee that, but I can. So
yeah, I love that. That's so cool. You have a couple other LLCs under your name. How do those play into Anvil Wealth? Do they play together, or they're totally separate?
A little bit. The Jasuco LLC is actually a company. I'm a property manager for a storage facility with a car wash. So I don't directly own that, but I am the general manager for that. And then a Place to Be is actually an investment company that my wife and I own. And we have several rental properties, a commercial building. And the funny story with that is my wife is a nurse, and the commercial building used to be the hospital in the city we're in. So I like telling people, I go, do you realize, have you ever met a nurse that bought a hospital? And you would see the look on, like, when you meet a doctor or something, the doctor looks at her like, what are you talking about? Because it's unfathomable to think of a nurse buying a hospital, but we did. And
That's so cool.
It's a commercial building now that we're looking to renovate and build some condos and all kinds of fun stuff. That's another side, but that's our own private investment vehicle. And then Anvil's the other LLC, which is the where I have customers and clients that I help.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, another question could be, what advice would you give to listeners who are looking to enhance their financial well-being? I feel like you gave a lot of tips already, but is there any others?
You know what? the biggest thing is that, and this is, I'm just telling you what I felt before I started buying properties, is that you fear it only because you don't know it. And then as soon as you start learning about it, you're like, well, why am I not doing this? I remember reading books on real estate, and it said eventually after you study and learn how to inspect the home, and is it a good value and a market price, and is it a good schools around there, is there a good rental market, you learn all that stuff. But eventually you got to pull the trigger. At some point, you got to write the check for the down payment. You got to go to the bank and get the loan, have them check your credit. And then you have to sign that loan document that says you owe $255,000 and you got to pay it over 30 years. And, and then you get the keys, and then you got to hook up the gas, the electric, and buy furniture, so there is some work to it. But to me, at first you're scared, but as you learn, it empowers you, because then you do it. You're like, that wasn't so hard. What's the big deal? And then you start getting excited. Like when you have success with anything, you want to do it again. You're like, that was easy. Let's do it again. So that's kind of how it started. And I would tell people, don't be afraid. You're going to be okay. Like, the biggest risk, really, people think it's risky to do this stuff. The biggest risk in life is not taking the risk. That's the biggest risk.
Yeah.
So that's what I would encourage people to do. Whether you use me or you or whoever, it doesn't matter. Like, I'd like for you to use me and you, because I think we're honest, we work hard, and we give a shit. But it's one of those things that just, you're going to have to take some risks in life if you ever want to get anywhere. And I encourage people to do that. It's been really good for me. And the people that I value, the high quality people that I know, have all taken some risks and done well. So, you're going to have to take some risks. I mean, getting out of bed is risky. You can fall and break your neck, right? So,
yeah, I agree with that.
Advice. Take some chances, and good chances, educated chances, not stupid emotional chances, right?
Yeah, 100%. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I love chatting with you. Are there any other questions or anything else you want to mention?
I don't think so. I enjoy working with you. I think we're doing great with our client, and I know the client's very happy, especially with you. Well, no, she's happy with me too, but she's very happy, and we're doing good for her. I've seen the numbers, and Nycole knows what she's doing. Just so you know, guys, whether or not I do or not, well, you'll have to see that in the future. But I know we're good at what we do, and it's just a matter of time that we can help out the right people.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome. Great having you. And then, and we'll be talking during the week. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.